if I've been in a dark room for all my life and then I get let out and I have an opportunity to shine and I'm talented, I'm gonna freaking shine, mate.
That is the voice of international recording artist Mauvey, not Indigo. And not just a recording artist, he is a fashion icon. He was a professional basketball player for years. Originally, I met him in high school. He came to play basketball in small town Agassiz, and that's where we developed our friendship. To me, he's still Ransford, and he's a beautiful black man, very proud. His family's from Ghana, and they immigrated to England, and then he came to Canada. He's lived in the States. He's toured all over the world with his music. I'm so glad we got to catch up, and we talked about racism and how rampant it is in the world today, what we can do to help change it, and he has some really strong messages that I'm so glad we got to talk about. That comes in about the 1 hour mark, so if you want to skip ahead and just check that out, feel free. I really want everyone to hear that message. Before that, we talk a bit about defining success, chasing your dreams, and taking chances like he did with his music career. If you want to find more out about Mauvey, find him on Instagram or Facebook at Love Mauvey. And of course, this episode brought to you by Rebecca Casey with DLC Origin Mortgages. If you guys are looking to get into the home buying market, then send Rebecca an email at rebecca@customcoastmortgages.com. She loves working with young families looking to get into the market for the first time who maybe don't even think they can get into the housing market. She's worked with experienced buyers. She's got clients all over the place, flexible work hours. She'll make it work, whatever you guys need. Rebecca Casey is your mortgage professional. Give her a shout. Thanks, Rebecca. Enjoy the episode.
It's the Andrew Christopher Show. Really, we call it the AC Show. Yeah, we really call it the AC Show. Really
We should have you do like a guest rap verse on this.
Yeah. Oh, I'd be about that.
It's the AC Show with AC, your host. Check it out.
Ransford, my man.
What is up?
It is so good to see you.
It's like Christmas. That's what it is.
I actually, when I picked you up at the airport, and I was like giddy, like a schoolgirl, coming to see you, and I saw you walking over with your suitcase, and you're all jacked up like usual, and
Yeah.
biggest, warmest hug ever.
It was the best. It was just such a good feeling to be back in Vancouver.
Yeah.
On another note, though, before I forget, I actually really like your theme song.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's
a jingle.
It is.
It's good.
That's exactly what it is.
I've said it a few times, but it just kind of came to me when I was half asleep, and I was like, oh, I got to get that down, and just like played some on the guitar. And yeah.
And it worked.
It worked. So if you ever need a jingle for anything, give me a jingle.
Whoa.
That could be another one.
Yeah.
A jingle for jingles.
Yeah.
Give me a jingle. Anyway, man. So how was the flight? What happened? Anything crazy? Any good food? Any good movies?
I watched Tolkien.
Oh yeah. So what was this? You said this Lord of the Rings guy, right?
Yeah.
Movie.
So J.R.R. Tolkien, just world famous author. He wrote The Hobbit and
Yeah,
Lord
The
of the
Hobbit
Rings.
and the Lord of the Rings series, and it was a movie about his life, or
Yes.
Yeah.
Just a movie about pretty much his childhood and kind of you saw the beginnings of him dreaming about the worlds that he was creating, and he created a language.
Really?
He created a language, a whole language, as a kid, and then kind of growing up, he just developed it, and so it's really, really inspiring.
Wow.
And I went from that to X-Men.
Okay. Yeah.
Dark Phoenix. I watched that.
I don't think I've seen that one. I saw a couple of like the first X-Men ones. They
Right.
were cool. Loved it, but
Yeah, and then I just
Dark Phoenix.
with
Still with Hugh Jackman?
No, Hugh Jackman is not in it.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, then I do not want to see it at all. What? How do they not have Hugh Jackman in it? Or is Wolverine not in it?
Wolverine's not in it.
Oh, okay,
So
okay. That's a bit more
I reckon it's
permissible.
like it's set a little bit before.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Now
and
I'm
it's just-
interested.
It's just about the story of Jean Grey.
Which one's that? Or who?
Jean Grey, she's got like
she.
similar powers to she. What do you
Well, it's like Gene Hackman.
Oh.
It's a dude.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Jean Grey. Okay.
Yeah.
So she is
She's
an
got-
ex-woman.
Yes, she's got powers similar to Professor X.
Gotcha. The old guy in the wheelchair.
Yes.
Yeah.
No hair.
No hair.
However, he doesn't have any hair. No, he has hair.
He was born bald.
He
and
has
he's
hair
always
in
always
parts of
been
it.
bald.
Basically, yeah, that's him.
Okay, cool. So it's about
Yeah.
her in her younger days.
No, it's about
And did they have babies? Is that where the X-Men come from? Her and old man in the wheelchair.
no. It's not that kind of movie. Definitely not. No, I feel like you need to actually start watching stuff.
I guess, yeah. Sorry, man. Anyway, good movies? Okay.
Yes, yeah, it
That's
was-
a good movies
yeah.
on the plane.
Solid movies. It was good.
Good. But no sleep, you said?
No sleep. I really tried. I've been up now for quite a while, and I just
And I made you do this podcast.
yeah, I'm here, and I really, really wanted to be part of it. So I'm like, we just had rehearsal.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, we got home from the airport, half hour to chat with the family, kids, and then
Yeah,
Cassandra Mays
Cassandra Mays
came over. Incredible
Just-
keyboard player. She plays guitar. She sings.
Yeah, she's super, super talented.
Yeah.
Artist from right here in Vancouver, and so she's going to be playing some shows
Yeah.
with me this week.
And I get to as well tomorrow. I'm
Yep.
backing you up for a gig. I'm stoked about that.
Yep, absolutely.
So Cassandra came over here for rehearsal, and then we got that done. And now I said, hey, do you want to do a podcast?
Yep, and I was like, yep, and we've got these what are they?
Pure.
Pure vodka sodas.
Not bad, hey?
Not
The Vancouver
bad.
product.
Drink responsibly, everybody.
It says it on the can, so why wouldn't we?
Absolutely. Does it actually?
I'm sure it usually says on all beer cans and stuff, drink responsibly, but I usually scratch that part out before I give it to anybody.
That's hilarious. Do you know what it does say? It actually doesn't say that. It just says, power your unique reality and also
Oh,
gluten free, zero carbs.
Power
Zero
your
sugar.
unique reality.
Mm-hmm.
That is
Ba-
very fitting
Yep.
for a couple artists sitting on a couch watching sports highlights and
I like
talking
watching.
trash.
Yeah, I like watching sports highlights silent. That's my new thing now.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's whole new vibe.
And you just do the play-by-play in your head?
Absolutely.
You make up the storylines as they go? And LeBron James has been caught cheating on his wife.
What?
And here's a highlight of him
It would never
dunking a
happen.
basketball.
LeBron's too good a guy.
Yeah, we talked a bit about this before already.
Yeah,
He's a good basketball player.
Excellent human being, great father.
He does seem that way.
Yeah, I mean,
I really think he is, but he does kind of portray himself like he knows he's good, and that's what got him there. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like he wouldn't be this good if he didn't know he was this good and tell people he was this good.
but I actually watched The Shop, which is LeBron's HBO show, and he said that the number one thing that has got him to the point where he's at is his support system. So he's had the same people around him from day one. And just imagine being famous from 15 years old and been basically, you're going to be the next Michael Jordan. You're going to be, and then actually living up to it. So if that doesn't mess with your, at least how you're perceived, then I don't know, mate. But end of the day, he's the GOAT. So
Yeah, it feels like those titles get slapped onto too many people nowadays.
too many people. Yeah,
They're like, you're going to be the next one. You're going to be the next one. No, you're going to be the next one.
yeah.
But he actually
Did it. Yeah. So let's just
Yeah.
And if you're a hater, just keep the opinions to yourself, because
Ransford will school
I
you.
don't have any time for you. Gosh.
Yeah. When so obviously you've played some competitive basketball in Europe.
Yeah.
when was the last season you played? A couple years ago, or was it?
Oh, it's quite a while. I
Yeah.
reckon like 2013, I think 2013, 2014, something like that.
And so with like, because as long as I've known you,
Mhm.
it was like athletics.
Right.
You're an athlete. You're still in great shape. You know, you do this, but then somewhere along the way, it crossed over to music.
Yeah.
And was there, obviously there was some in between mixing, but now it seems like you're on the music end of things without as much sport.
Yeah.
So how did that transition come to be? Why do you think it happened? I heard you kind of mention before that, you know, you were raised playing sports,
Yeah.
and then now you do music like you used to do sports kind of thing. And so where did the transition happen? Do you wish it happened earlier? Do you wish you grew up doing music? Or, you know, what? Talk a little bit about that and how you kind of
Yeah, a really, really
came
good
into
question.
such- yeah.
So I reckon, I mean, I'd never trade being a part of team sports for anything.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I didn't have brothers growing up, so the guys on the teams that I grew up with were my brothers, and just so many values, like endless amounts of values that I could go through. That, you know, you honestly, you only learn from like team sports. Really, you know, it's a unique space where you can learn things that I think mimic real life a little bit more than your average lesson at school or whatever. So,
100%. Yeah.
So,
You're exactly right.
I wouldn't trade that for the world. But I mean, I would have loved to have been just a part of creative art earlier, knowing how integral a part of my life it is right now. So I would have loved to have started that. But at the end of the day, I think that I go so hard right now because I started a little bit later. So I am a bit more of a student. You know, I really, really want to learn. I want to get better. So that's kind of where I'm at. So it's weird. Like, yes, I would have loved to have started earlier, but my hunger is the way it is now because I started later. So obviously I wouldn't trade that either. I guess how it happened though is I think from when I was like 16, going 17, I went to a school in Kentucky for 2 years, and like probably the biggest influence on me creatively was a teacher at that school, creative writing teacher called Alice Lindsley, and she would give me like a task, like a poem to write every single day, like every day for like homeroom. And I'm not sure what you guys call it here, but like,
homeroom. Yeah, we got that. Yeah.
And she'd be, you know, I'd do my homework, I'd do everything, and then I'd bring this poem to her in homeroom every morning, and she would actually grade it by the afternoon when school was done. And so I got an opportunity to, you know, first of all, I was writing like super, super descriptive, like overly descriptive, like 3-page poems, you know, not knowing how to write stuff properly. And then she taught me how to make like a page into, you know, a quarter of a page, and, you know, 30 words into 10 words, you know, just finding out how to describe things with saying less as well. So just really, you know, how to structure my stories better, beginning, middle, and end, how to develop characters, so many different things that she taught me throughout those 2 years. And I mean, it essentially changed my life because I just became obsessed with writing stuff. But nobody knew that. Like, literally, I mean, basketball hadn't really even started for me at that point. So nobody knew that this was something that I actually really, really wanted to do until years after. And I think the biggest kind of catalyst was when my friend from he was from that high school as well. He joined on the second year, my senior year. His name is Jonathan Uchendu, and he died in his hometown, Little Rock, Arkansas. And when I heard about him dying, I was by myself. Like I was in Copenhagen in Denmark. And I remember I had like a video camera because I wanted to kind of, it was my first pro team, so I was filming everything.
Yeah, right.
So I just started filming myself, like just talking. And, you know, I obviously feeling super alone. Like you got your teammates, but, you know, I don't have my family. It's hard to get in contact with people all the time. And so I just remember just writing more stuff down, and thinking that, okay, you know, this could be something, but I have to put my mind to it like I do basketball. Like I actually have to immerse myself in this art form.
Mm-hmm.
So I think as the years went on, I just started doing it a little bit. I started caring a little bit more about writing. Not a little bit less about basketball, just more with writing. So it was kind of even. And then the year that I stopped and thought, okay, I need to actually do this more, is when I went to an open mic. The first open mic, I just rocked up by myself. I didn't tell anybody I was going. And then I did it. I sucked, but I just got like a feeling that I only ever got playing basketball.
Yeah.
So it's just this, I was on stage. I made some mistakes, but I was like, okay, like I felt if you've performed at any level, like, you know, playing sports, like, you know what that feeling of game day is, like, of like going into battle, like, competing, and I felt that on stage. I felt that pressure to perform and to execute, and I didn't know anything like that existed outside of basketball, but I really, really enjoyed it. So I went back the week after and I did it again, and then every week I was getting better, and you know, I could see the crowd's reaction, and I fed off of that as well. Like I fed off of people liking what
kind of stuff were you performing? Original stuff, like, and with instrumentation or tracks, or was it poetry? Or
this is a great question.
Yeah,
because I obviously never had singing lessons or anything like that. No. So I was basically, I turned my poems into kind of like spoken word type of like thing. So I was doing that sort of stuff first, and then I tried
with no instruments.
No, with instruments. So I'd find this really cool instrumentals online of songs that I really liked, and then I would just write my own verses to them. So I would just be doing my original songs on other people's. So I'd take the little MP3s, I'd give them to like the DJ, and then I would just do it. And then I just was like, I really enjoyed it, and I started making it more melodic. But honestly, it took at least 2 years to dare actually sing, like, in public.
Really?
Because I was like, okay, I mean, mainly because I just thought I'm a pretender. Like, I never had lessons, so I don't need to be singing. I don't want someone to tell me that I suck, blah blah blah. So, and it was, you know, a lot of people who were around me just kept pushing me to just try it, and I would always be singing at home.
Yeah.
And when especially when I'm like finding these beats online, and you know, I would sing the singing parts, and but then I would just be fearful of actually doing it in public. And then that kind of all changed when I was put into a position leading up to a show. With the first show, I put together a band. Leading up to a show, it was like, okay, but you have to sing this part of the chorus. You just have to do that. And then that show was like, okay, cool. You know what? I'm not a singer, but this is how I sing. This is how Ransford sings. So that's basically what I did. I just thought, do you know what? This is my own brand of music. I guess that was kind of like 2014, 2015, when I was like, okay, like I This is not how everybody does it, but this is how I do it.
Man, and to me, that's rock and roll. Like, just to me, I think of that and I'm like, yeah, that's the rock and roll attitude that, nothing has to be perfect. Like that song I just showed you with the guitar solo, right?
Yeah.
That's rock and roll. Like you can make little mistakes if they come from emotion, or if it's, if you're trying to portray those emotions or whatever, and maybe you don't have the talent or ability yet, but it's still your song and you're singing it that way. So that's how it's sounding, and it's rock and roll, man.
Yeah.
Good for you. That's so cool. I never knew this, that it was such and so you're doing these open mics, you put the band together, you got to sing this song, you're developing you're starting to find yourself as an artist and singing it.
Yeah, and I knew there's certain things I knew I had. Like I knew I had tenacity. I knew that I was a hard worker. So getting gigs, never a problem. All like the marketing stuff. I knew I could do that. Like I knew I could bring people to the show. I knew I could get people interested.
Yeah.
And I knew what I wanted to hear as well. So even picking the band, like I literally went to other people's gigs. I saw a guitarist that I liked from another band, and I'd be like, do you want to be in my band? So I basically stole 4 musicians from different bands. They all agreed. They all showed up to rehearsal, and then we just started playing gigs, and it's a great experience. I think for me, I wanted to fast track everything. So I did a lot of gigs because I was like, okay, I need to do. I need to play shows. Like I need to play live and get better. I need to write and get better. So I just became obsessed with development and wanting to get better.
It's so cool, man. And it's what I appreciate about you the most is how hardworking you are, and you can just set your mind to that, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna get better.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Straight up.
And I'm going to play a bit of this song now, just because when I heard this song, this is from some of your new stuff that you put out. And I was like, I had heard your stuff all along for the past 5 years or so, we'll say, or whatever. And then I heard this and I was like, holy fuck. Like this, like almost, not in any disrespect, but when did you learn to sing like this kind of thing? And to me, it's like, well, he probably didn't even learn to sing like this. He's just actually finally letting go of all his inhibitions, and all these worries about, oh, people are going to judge me on this.
Right.
And it just sounds like you finally are letting loose and letting it all hang out, for lack of a better term. And this is what it's starting to sound like. So check it out. This is Found by Mauvey, not Indigo.
No.
Let's check it out. You can keep talking a little bit if you need to, but let him hear this. This is such a good tune, man.
I fought a fight to remember. Knew it would cost me my memory. You were a sight for the sorest eyes. I barely blinked when I looked at you. I don't want to miss a thing. I'm not who I used to be. Take this hand, I'll close my eyes. One small step, I'm terrified. We're not young no more. We've been through it all. We're not safe and sound. They chased us down. We were once so proud, said our words so loud. But when it all came crashing down, we were nowhere to be found. I learned to trust what was what's left of me. Found strength from all of the sympathy. I gave my heart to my enemy. Saw past the way that they looked at me. We're not young no more. We've been through it all. We're not safe and sound. They chased us down. We were once so proud, said our words so loud. But when it all came crashing down, oh, she said, boy, you don't have to fight for us or at yours. She said, boy, take your time, you'll find what you're looking for. Oh boy, do me proud, see the stars in your eyes. Make a choice, get in the water. We're not young no more. We've been through it all. We're not safe and sound. They chased us down. We were once so proud, said our words so loud. But when it all came crashing down, we were nowhere to be found.
Emotion.
Oh my God. Like I was at the gym when I first was listening to that. I was on the elliptical, like I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, I was almost in tears. I'm not even gonna lie. Like I was like, oh my God, this is Ransford. Like I love this man, and he's singing so beautifully and powerfully. Like it was incredible, man.
Thanks,
and
man.
Yeah, it was the first one that you've put out on this. You put out recently, like within the last couple of weeks, three EPs of 4 songs each.
Yeah.
And this was on the first one, and I think it was the first track.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the fuck? Where did this come from? Like, it was just so beautiful. And unlike anything I had ever really heard from you, just very, stripped down, just you and a piano. And yeah, man, I loved it. So
Thank you so much.
where did that song come from? How did it start? How did you write it? Like anything about the tune. Where did it come from?
Yeah, so Found was in a trio of songs that I wrote like this year. And I wanted to take a risk, and I wanted to actually just stop being a wimp,
And that's exactly what it sounds like, to be honest. That's what I thought.
Like,
I was like, wow, good for you. You stopped pussying out of it. But anyway, go on. Go ahead.
Yeah. And, I didn't want to put any effects. I didn't want to just, I didn't want it to be some like fast paced or loads of other instrumentation distracting it. I wanted to be like, okay, guys, it might not be perfect, but this is me. This is what I sing like. This is. If you want to know what my voice is like, this is what it's like. And I almost didn't put it out because I recorded it like in maybe April.
Yeah.
I only just released it like a couple of weeks ago, and but I just thought, you know what? At some stage, if this is what I do now. Like I have to be comfortable in my own skin, and with my own voice, and it could continue to grow and develop and whatever. But I just was kind of tired of not appreciating where I'm at. And in the journey, you have to appreciate where you're at. Going back to sports, there was a time that I couldn't dribble the basketball. There was a time where I couldn't make a layup, but I really appreciate those times. And so why can't that be the same with creative art? There was a time that I didn't know how to write, and now the writing's the strongest part of anything that I do, but it's because I worked at it.
Yeah.
And I think, do you know what the hardest thing, honestly, if I had to be completely, the hardest thing is it's just people. The people that only know you from playing basketball, and you just get so worked up and worried that they are going to be like, oh my gosh, you do music. That's so dumb. That's so silly. Ha ha ha. Like, and I'm a grown man. Like,
Yeah.
I don't actually care what relevant or irrelevant people to my life think about. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You know, and it took me so long. I mean, like this year to get over that, and I'm literally a grown man. But as an artist, it's the best and the worst place that I put myself in. I put myself in a place where, like, I am gonna get judged.
You're very exposed.
Yeah,
Right now, because you know what I mean.
Yeah, I could live a life that isn't like that.
Yeah.
But I've chosen to live this life that, like, people can say it's dumb. They can sit at home and either listen to it or not listen to it. They can pass it. I've put myself in that spot. Also, I've also been able to free myself as well. So yes, I've done that and people can judge, whatever, but it's also made me so much more comfortable with myself, and just so much more able to live with myself. And that's really important.
When you think of kind of the other side of that, how you were saying, you know, you understanding that people might judge you or whatever, all this kind of thing, then you think of the other side of that and it's just fucking crazy. You're like, and, you know, speaking from these other people's point of view, it's like, why do you think you should judge me? Or why are you judging anything I do? Like, why does that matter to you?
Right.
Why would you spew that negativity, or why any of this stuff? And it's like, obviously there's something going on over there, you know, whether, not saying it's jealousy or whatever, but it feels like the people who would do that have something they wish they were doing.
Right.
Other than what they're doing right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, possibly. Like, I mean, I just think it's okay. This is the best position in that I don't know what you mean because I don't care. That's the
exactly.
reality.
Okay, good.
Like,
as long as you don't care.
I'm
but
just like, yeah.
Hearing you say that, I was like, oh my God. And then, yeah, what the hell is going on in these people's lives,
right,
that think they can judge you for doing something like this, or something that you love and that you're passionate about.
Right.
And
but
obviously something's got to be messed up on that end.
Yeah. And then, I mean, but you see it in
everywhere.
Everywhere. And I mean, people they don't understand what, the impact of a flippant comment.
Yeah.
Or like, you know, it's so tough to actually, people can't help. They see something, I don't like it, and that's fine. That's their opinion. And so obviously people can keep their opinion and or share their opinion. That's 2019. That's what people do.
Yeah. Yeah.
And for the people who are creating the thing that is, or in putting themselves in the position to be judged or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, the difference between like success and failure, if that's a thing that we're using as a word, is your ability to actually not care about what people say.
Yeah.
And what people think. Because
success is definitely a term that is misunderstood, I think, by a lot of people. Yeah. Or, I mean, they understand it the way it makes sense to them.
Yeah.
But it's definitely something that you can define for yourself.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just a large, it is a success. It is a win to be able to keep going.
Yeah.
You know, and execute and finish stuff. Like, you know, in my life, one of the things that I'm not like the happiest about is starting stuff and not finishing it. You know, like and I'm always moving around. So so many things feel unfinished in my life.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you.
I've moved out came to Canada when I was 16, and I've since until this year, it's been in a different place. Like this country, this here, at home for a little bit, but like so, having this stable home, it has not been there, and then that's trickled into so many other things in my life. Just not being able to like stick at things, and so then you start really doubting yourself. Like, you know, can you be a committed person? Can you, like, can you execute something? Can you see something through to fruition? And then you're worried about every single person that you know, thinking, oh, that's just Rancid. He can't finish anything. Or he can't stick to this, or he can't do that.
Yeah.
And the thing is, maybe they are saying that, maybe they aren't. But the point is, when it gets to when you're saying it to yourself, and when you're beating yourself up about something, it starts to kind of really grate on you. So, you know, even putting out this music, that's and it's a small thing in the grand scheme of what, you know, other people's ideas of what important things are or whatever. But for me, it was huge, because it's like, okay, I've made this thing. I said I was going to put it out. I put it out, and it is what it is.
Yeah.
And this year has been a year of like just, you know, doing stuff, you know, and some things are a longer game. So, you know, like one of the things I just really, really wanted to do is like, okay, I've got a niece, and I want to be a really good, consistent uncle. But that's not like a 5-minute thing, or that's for the rest of her life. Do you know what I mean? And that's something that like she deserves me to be a good uncle for the rest of her life.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to get over this. I can't commit to this thing, whatever. It doesn't matter what people say or how people perceive me or whatever. All she's going to know is that my uncle is committed.
Right.
And that's when I thought to myself, like, does it? If this little girl only knows that, then that's what reality is.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter what I was 5 years ago or 2 years ago. Do you know what I mean? It matters what I'm doing right now. And
exactly.
That's why
it ties into something I've always kind of talked about with other, mostly other dads, guys who have kids or whatever, who, you know, maybe are struggling at times in their life, and it's definitely relatable to someone with a niece who, you know, you obviously love them the same, just as if they were your kid.
Right.
And it's, you know, if you're ever wondering, what am I going to do with my life? You know, or getting even depressed about thinking you're not doing enough, or there's nothing, what are you living for, kind of thing. And you're like, well, there's a fucking child right here who worships you,
right,
who loves every minute that you spend with them, and that's why you're here.
Right.
Like if you're ever questioning it or looking for something, then, you know, you just look at the kids.
Right.
Like it's I feel like it's a very obvious thing, but it's something that people don't really tell themselves enough.
Yeah.
That there are children in your lives that
literally worship you.
Exactly.
Like,
so if you're wondering, then go hang out with them, teach them something.
Yeah.
You know something that is good that you can teach these kids, and that will help them grow up to be a better person.
Yeah.
So, you know, there you go.
Yep.
So like you said, if that's, you know, that's one big goal in your life, is to be there for her. And then, you know, it seems like that's something you can kind of hang your hat on and build around that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's it's a beautiful thing. And what's your niece's name?
Adina May.
So beautiful.
Yeah.
And it's your sister,
Linda.
My
My baby sister's baby. So it's really, she's really special.
That's so awesome.
Yeah.
And so over the past year, you've been able to spend lots of time with her. Tons of time.
Exactly. And I just did not want to be that, like, I'll see you when I see you, uncle. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So now I'm going away. I haven't been away for longer than like a couple of weeks, you know, but you know, with traveling with music and stuff like that. But you know, there's, you know, I'm keeping up on FaceTime. I'm seeing them, you know, just being there, and it's nice.
It's you know, it's one of those things. Who knows what the future would hold? But I could tell that, you know, who knows? You signed a major record deal or something, and
right.
You'll be flying back and forth. Make sure you see her, or you'll be bringing them with you or something.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
it's a priorities, you know.
Yeah.
Just,
yeah. That's And it's always been that way. Because you kind of moved back home because your dad got sick.
Yes.
He had cancer, right?
My dad had...
He has cancer.
Thyroid cancer. And,
Yeah.
Again, being the person who's always been moving around, I was just like, okay, I'm always missing family stuff.
Yeah.
But our family's so close, and I am a family person, but I can't keep saying I'm a family person if I'm not there.
It's a tough thing, man. Like, I definitely wouldn't want you to beat yourself up about it that you've been out, because your family always supported you being out this way or in the States or whatever.
Yeah.
And, but yeah, that's a really tough thing to miss your family like that. And obviously it was hard on you.
Yeah.
But, there's also other opportunities out there for you that they want you to pursue as well. So, I mean, it looks like you were kind of making the best of both worlds.
Yeah, and it was good. It was a great decision. I had to turn down a huge opportunity, but it wasn't bigger than really spending time with my dad, being able to take him from A to B and to his appointments, and just kind of, and you just saw that when I walked into the room. You could, and it was with all of us. It wasn't just with me, but when we walked into the room, you could see he was happy, and that was such a big deal for me. But I mean, he's got such a positive spirit, so I think he's gonna be fine. And yeah, it's just nice being around.
Yeah, man. I hope the best for him too. I got to spend I think it was only a week or so with your family that it's been so far, and then at your wedding as well. But yeah, that was always a good time. He is such a funny guy. Like a little, because he had kind of still the African almost accent and then English accent blended together, and sometimes hard to understand. But he would always laugh when he said something funny, so then I knew to laugh, and I was like, oh yeah.
You're so funny.
As long as if he thinks it's funny, then I'm sure I thought it was funny as well.
Yeah,
that was a good time. I also remember that the first day I got to your house, I think I slept for something weird, like 16 hours or something. Like I passed out, and then when I woke up, I was like, what day is it? And you were like, dude, you slept all morning and all night again, and then
I remember that. Yeah.
And now it's Wednesday. And
we
I was
just
like, what?
we just let you sleep.
Yeah, that was crazy. Must have been a comfy bed. But anyway, those were good times. And then I tried to take that ball away from that guy down on. You remember this story?
We tried to hustle these kids.
There was like
so funny.
There was like a random guy, I think, running with a basketball, dribbling.
Yeah.
And you were like, Andrew, you should go D up on that guy, play some defense. And I went and did it. And then he got all serious and tried to beat me. And then he beat me, and I fell down and scraped up my knee really bad. Good times. It wouldn't happen again, though. I let him beat me. Yeah. Anyway.
Oh my gosh.
So I want to play one more of your tunes before we start getting into some more serious talk here. Can we do one that Woody recorded for you off one of these 3 EPs? What's your favorite one that you did with Woody?
Blush off of
what EP?
Whole Hive Mauve, the second one.
Whole Hive. Okay, I'm bringing it up here. Blush. And so done with Woody, who did all my Parliament of Owls stuff. You did quite a few tracks with him, right? And a few of them are on here.
Yeah, I mean, and again, people don't know this, but I went through a crazy time, and Woody, his studio was literally like therapy.
Yeah.
It was. I was there like 3 times a week.
He's good for stuff like that, man, for sure.
And
for doing music, obviously, as you'll hear. But
we did the music, but it was just so good to just and I got to do what I wanted to do, make and do it in the order that I wanted to do, and it was super, super therapeutic. But also just a lot of the groundwork for why I'm releasing music now is because of the little comments and pep talks and confidence boosters that I knew were doing something, but I didn't really know what they were doing. But it just really helped build my confidence. So but Blush is just is I love Blush. It just represents all the songs that I've recorded with him. So
Okay, let's check it out here.
yeah.
You said, boy, you ain't that tough. You said, boy, you make shit up. Made you king, then broke your heart. Whispered things that made you blush. Pearly on your white teeth. Watch you while you sleep and dream. Pretty boy, I'm handsome. Take her for a ransom. Are we ready? Yeah, we ready. We ready for 'em. It's your party, what you waiting on? What you waiting on? Are we ready? Yeah, we ready. We ready for 'em. It's your party, but this isn't love. This isn't love. Pick me up, I fell down. Brand new me, I turned around. Pretty on the inside. Underneath these sad eyes, I don't like to smile now. I won't ever bow down. Why you call me crazy? You don't know me, baby. Yeah. Girlie, I done told you already. You're gorgeous, but you didn't have to do this already. Not yet, we were steady, but foundations were straw. The big bad wolf pulled the wool over your. He huffed, then he puffed, blew the roof off your wall, saw right through to your heart. All he ever wanted was some truth from the start. Yeah, all he ever wanted was some truth from the start. Are we ready? Yeah, we ready. We ready for 'em. It's your party, what you waiting on? What you waiting on? Are we ready? Yeah, we ready. We ready for 'em. It's your party, but this isn't love. This isn't love.
Mr. Brendan Woody Woodruff from Woodruff Music.
Beast.
What a guy, hey?
Yeah.
So as you were talking about that, saying it was therapy and everything, this is when you were going through your divorce
Yeah.
with your ex-wife,
Yeah.
which is another very real thing, very real story, which is tough. I had a question about that, and I hope you're okay. Like, I spring a lot. I'm going to spring this on you. And it's more about spirituality and religion, and your relationship with God, which, as far as I kind of have known, has always been pretty strong. For myself, I've had a, pretty tough 7 or 8 years, let's call it. And I've been very up and down with that and trying to figure out what I believe. Through this stuff that happened with your ex-wife, like, has this wavered your faith or beliefs in any way? Or how are you doing with your relationship with God, or even just with spirituality in general? Did it have any big effect on that? Because I know your ex was very close with the church, and her family was as well. And it was, things got a bit tough there.
I think with me, yeah, it's definitely even now it's not something that I'm proud about. And for such a long time, I just felt like such a huge failure, and because like I've got a fear of God. I actually was like, okay, do you know what? Like I was so fearful of like, what does this mean? What does this mean for my life? What does this mean for my eternity, for my future? And I just think there was nothing specific, but it's just very difficult to say that, God's not going to forgive me. I'm now worth even less than I was before because I, did this thing. And, but, it was when I got home and I got back to England, and I was just actually really able to be around people who like really actually like love me, like no matter what. And I think that's one of the biggest differences. Like there's people who say they love you and say they'll be there,
with stipulations or with guidelines or some.
Right. And then if something goes down, then things are a little bit different, and maybe people can say that's hypocritical because obviously I made vows, and then I wanted to get out of those vows, and but I went home, and it wasn't just my family. It's just people who just did not look at me differently, didn't treat me differently, didn't feel sorry for me. They just loved me.
Yeah.
So with regards to my actual relationship with God, I only got through this, and everyone's different. So this is not to say that this is just for me. I only got through this because I believe in God so strongly, and the circumstances. I mean, again, everyone's journey is different, and perception of people's journey is different. But nobody was me in this scenario, and it was literally the worst possible thing that I've ever gone through. And being here it was so difficult. I can't even imagine that I actually got through it. But I had to just really believe that, like, do you know what? Like, how dare you listen to people who are telling you that you're not going to be loved the same? And then I was looking at myself like, why would you believe that? Like, what a dumb thing to believe, So, but it was tough for sure.
It's and that's one of the things that I always think about it with like relationships with God. Like I said, I'm very all over the place right now, spiritually or to do with religion or anything. But it's like, it's tough for me when I see a priest or a pastor who's trying to understand the words of God, if there's a God, and then relaying them to you instead of you just focusing on the relationship with God yourself and understanding God yourself, And sure, he's been through, the schooling and all that or whatever, but he's also just a man, trying to understand the words of God, just like you are, or something like that. So it's, and I feel like that's where a bit of this came with you, that it was other people kind of saying what they think about God that should be relatable to your life.
Yeah, and I think, honestly, like, I mean, because there's a lot of people. There are people who are like, they were born to lead people into worship. They were born to, and I think that there's certain people have certain gifts. So I do believe that. But the thing that I think bothers me is just the level of judgment from people in like powerful positions, influential positions, and things that were done and said by these powerful people were I just the opposite of what I imagined Jesus would do.
And I feel like
tough.
that's the biggest beef with a lot of people and religion
Yeah.
is that these people in positions of power who probably shouldn't be there, are doing these bad things or, acting in the name of God in these bad ways.
Right.
Somehow they got into this power where a lot of people are looking up to them. You know what I mean?
A lot of people, yeah. Exactly.
And then they're acting badly,
Yeah.
and everyone on the outside looks at that and says, well,
Yeah. And I think
fuck that stuff.
and when it's coming from someone with that in that authority position, it can really, really knock a person, especially if that person is a Christ follower. Like it's actually, I don't know why, but it can really crush you. It can really crush you. I've seen quite a lot of people who've been through situations with the church that have really just, it's completely set them to the complete other edge. So people who were on fire and then now they're just like the opposite.
Yeah.
Like that's not okay, but gotta do the best we can,
That's right, man. That's all we can do.
That's all we can do.
And
So,
that's
and I mean, and at the end of the day as well, I mean, everybody's human, even these people in these powerful positions. And I really, really tried just not to dwell on anything that anyone's done. Anything anyone's done to me, good or bad, especially bad. I just don't want to dwell on it, because people are human, and they've made mistakes, as have I made mistakes, and so I wouldn't want someone to dwell on a mistake that I've made for the rest of their lives. Therefore, I also wouldn't want to be dwelling on something that someone else has done.
Yeah.
And a lot of these times, I think this just with me, maybe a lot of people that have really, really hurt me, or they don't know because I hadn't communicated it. So I'm holding this thing that people don't even know because I haven't communicated it. And that's, I've been told this a lot of times, but forgiveness is actually for yourself, and it's like to forgive somebody actually just, it really helps you, because that person literally, most of the time they don't even know what they've done if you haven't communicated it.
And you're the only one dealing with it.
You're the only one dealing with it.
Even if it was them who was in the wrong.
Right.
Yeah.
100%. And sometimes people really, really, they actually genuinely, really, really could be in the wrong. Like done some things, far worse than anything that's happened to me. And yet they're not even sharing the going through it. It's you've got that dark cloud over your head. You're weighing yourself down when, and it's easier said than done for sure. But just, exercising this thing of letting it go, which is again, easier said than done.
Yeah, man, that's some pretty deep stuff here.
I mean, we're getting into it. It's
we are.
It's a Monday night.
It is.
Highlights
running.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. So now we did that, little heavy again for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get into before we get into even heavier stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go with your favorite song of all time, which you have not told me yet. So as you're talking about it, I'm going to search it up. So allow for that time. So start with the name and artist.
The name of the song is Crying All By Myself.
Yeah. Okay. A nice long one to type. Go on.
This song has some things that a lot of songs just don't have anymore, just straight up. And I know people say that like they don't make them like this anymore, but
it's true.
It's true. Like I love hearing storytellers, authors, people be vulnerable. I love it when, a songwriter is actually desperate. In 2019, like if you act desperate in any way, it's a bad thing. If you want something so badly, whether it's a man or a woman or, a job or anything, it's like if you write a record label exec and you're too pushy, like people actually say like don't be too keen. Like when has being too keen actually like a bad thing? When has being too passionate bad? And that's one of the things I just really don't like about nowadays. Like it's
that takes away from all the
like
the art and
you have to try to not be keen.
Yeah.
You have to try to you got to be quote cool, and that's how you get in. Like if I was an exec and someone was pouring their heart out to me about how much they needed an opportunity, that's the person that I want to represent the record label, for example.
Yeah. Okay, Wendy Renee, Crying All by Myself.
Crying by myself. Oh, yes, I am.
Damn.
Crying by myself. I've been crying all by myself. Maybe I'm right, and again, maybe I'm wrong. I've got a feeling you're not coming home, and you're leaving me, little boy, crying all by myself. I know you're not angry. There's not been a fight, but I won't see you after this lonely, lonely night. 'Cause you're leaving me, good grief, crying all by myself. I really love you, and I've done no wrong. Honey, I'm gonna miss you after you're gone, but you're leaving me, crying all
No one says stuff like this. Like
This is cool, man. This is what I love about you. This is like everything. The reason this explains why I love you. Like this song, if you think of it, you're like, oh, it's different and beautiful, unexpected.
unexpected.
That's
You
why I
would,
love you. So where's this from?
like first of all, let's just talk about. I'm gonna show you. Just don't you leave me. Like
Yeah. It's just like real
it's
words.
just
the
real
heart.
desperate.
Yeah, okay.
Like,
that desperation you
That's-
talked about
yeah,
before.
mhm.
Yeah.
And that's I think that's the thing. That's what's missing, and not just in music, but in life, in modern times. But
Little desperation, eh?
yeah, just real life. Like, how do you really feel? Like, if you start saying, please don't leave me. I've been in writing sessions where people have been like, oh, try not to use the word love in relation to a person. It's too much. Like I've been in writing sessions when they've said,
Like
things-
songwriting sessions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
when for the song we will keep things as generic as possible so that blah 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 blah, and that may be what works or whatever, but I don't like stuff like that.
And so this Wendy Renee,
Yeah,
obviously
song-
old, like,
yeah.
when does this song come out? I didn't even look, but 50s or 60s or something.
Yeah, 60s or 70s, I think.
60s, 70s, yeah.
And basically, how I came
Where
across
did you-
this song is I got given a USB, and on that USB there were 70 songs from this era, just random songs
Nice.
and it was by this DJ, and he was just like, oh, this would be, if you're ever thinking about sampling, blah 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 blah, this would be these are some songs that would be cool to sample. And so I listened to every single
Gotcha.
I listened to every single one of them. And I came across this song, and I'm like, this is the best song I've ever heard. And I knew it from when I heard it. And it's just, I'm just so happy that I can answer that question with such certainty. Like, for me, this does it for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool, man. And it is a very cool soulful sound. I just looked it up. Wendy Renee was the stage name of soul singer and songwriter Mary Friesen, later Mary Cross, 1947, and she died in 2014. She recorded for Stax Records in the mid 1960s. So there you go. Very cool. Yeah, I'm glad you played that for me, man. Like I said, out of the blue, unexpected.
Yeah.
It's great.
Anytime.
Man, I wanted to touch on I wanted to call myself out on something here.
Okay.
And then just get some feedback. And so it's a tough thing. And I feel like this is what people kind of like about my show. It's like how I just totally put you on the spot about the whole religion thing and the whole divorce thing. Mm-hmm. Like I said, we had none of this planned to talk about an hour ago. And now we're just, I'm firing it off at you and putting you on the spot. So I appreciate that. And I think that the thing people enjoy is they can understand that this is kind of spur of the moment, on the spot stuff, because maybe we fumble our words a bit, and I'm trying to figure out how to, say this stuff.
Right.
But so it kind of comes back to something I thought about, and I guess I'll start kind of just with a situation where, I'm with a group of guys, something random happens, and we're all kind of laughing, having a good time, and I know something that would make them laugh, and I say something to the effect of, oh, yeah, well, if it was, because he was black. Right. Something like this, random, completely random situation. Right. And I say that, and they all laugh. They know, I'm not a racist guy, as I'm putting the quotations up or whatever, which I truly believe I'm not. But I make that joke to make them laugh. And now looking at it, I'm like, why do I fucking say something like that?
Right.
To make these people laugh when I should probably be a bigger human and a better person and not. Because in that moment, I was being racist, making a joke about someone's skin color and race to make someone else laugh.
Yeah, I mean, okay, there's a couple of things
here. So
here's
the starting point of this. So yeah, go.
So I think that people toss around the actual word racism, too loosely, like and I've got to be careful with that, because racism is rampant. But what I mean is I don't think people actually know what racism actually is. So I'll get into that in a second, but just touching on your point. So imagine, and it's an uncomfortable thing, well, not for me because it's my life, but imagine if someone's flippant joke is your actual life. So
yeah,
I'm black. I was born in Ghana. Every single day that I wake up in, whether it's North America or England, in the white country that I live in, I actually have to prepare myself for that day, being a black person.
Yeah.
So that's every single day. So that's literally you can't move the same way. So you can't go out. If I go out, I have to. Sure, I can quote wear what I want to wear, but if I don't want to frighten certain people, I actually have to move in a certain way. Now, as a little old lady who's walking across the street who's scared of me because I'm black, a bad criminal, you know, and what's the difference between her and an overtly racist person who's like, F you, black, blah, blah, blah. Like, but the point is, both of those people make me feel exactly the same way.
Yeah.
And that's how deep racism is now. And that's how deep the issue of race is. So, like, it's just, it becomes, I would just say for you know, people out there and, you know, who make the odd black joke and then they say like, oh, it's just a little joke. Just imagine if your life was the joke. And this isn't like, you know, you woke up one day and someone drew a mustache on your face and then you had to wear it to work that day and everybody made fun of you. Like that, my skin color is black.
Yeah.
So your flippant joke is about something that I cannot change. Even if I was fat or these are things that some people can change. I'm not saying all people can or should change. So nobody come at me about the issue of weight.
Body issues.
I'm just saying I cannot change being black. And for people out there who don't think that it's a big deal, honestly, shame on you. Like, genuinely, it is the biggest deal to someone who is the butt of that joke.
Yeah.
It's actually everything to them, because when you forget about it 5 seconds later, they are thinking about it 5 years later. Like, genuinely, I remember little random jokes from when I was like 10. The reason I started playing basketball was because someone made a random racist joke to me. Flippant joke. Well, as they mentioned it, as they said, it was a joke. And put me down because I couldn't play a sport, and apparently all black people are supposed to be good at sports. And so I took that to heart so much that's why I started playing basketball. Literally, not because I idolized anybody. It was because of a schoolyard comment. I mean, there was some other bullying stuff going on, but like, it's just really, really tough, and it goes so deep that it's one of the things I don't like hearing is when people who are not people of color suggest that A, racism is over, B, you know, black people should just get over it. Like, oh, you're using the race card again. It's not a race card. It's not a thing that you use. It is a thing. Period. I don't like when people say that. There's no card that you're playing.
Yeah.
Like, stop doing that. You know, and also, you know, just because you think you're a good person, don't take yourself out of the category of doing wrong. Like, you know, you're one of the best human beings that I've known. We didn't have to have this conversation today, but it's obvious, and you brought this to me. This wasn't something that I wanted to talk about.
Honestly, because it's been on my mind.
Exactly. So,
and I'm like, I love you, and I would never want to hurt you, whether it's to your face or behind your back.
Right.
You know, and it's not that I would be specifically talking about you.
Right.
But it would be about your race.
Right.
In this joke I make.
Right. And it's just really, really tough, and I think it gets harder when people don't acknowledge that it's a real thing.
Yeah.
One of the things that I was talking to someone about the other day is this this reality of white privilege. And people are like, you know, what, even some black people were like, you know, I mean, I guess they've worked hard for what they've had. Like, I know someone who's worked hard for what he's got, so he actually doesn't think that there is anything such as white privilege. He thinks that if you work hard, everyone has the same opportunities. That is categorically 1,000% just not the case. It's not true. It isn't true. When you wake up in the morning, you don't think about being white, do you?
Yeah. No.
That's white privilege.
Yeah.
Don't talk to me about like that is privileged. You are privileged to not have to think about your skin color in the country that you live in. If you wanted to, you could go on ancestry.com. Most white people now, and they can find out their family from hundreds of years going back. A lot of black people now, just a lot of them were ripped out of their country, brought to United States or England or Australia or wherever, and literal family trees were slaughtered. Like, so they physically, they don't even know who they are. You have the privilege of being able to go back hundreds of years. And a lot of, especially African Americans, literally come from slaves.
Yeah.
So the furthest they can go back is the people. Some of them can't even go back to the people who were enslaved. They can't even go back that far because those records don't exist. That is, you're put into a position of privilege, and privilege is it's so deep. It's not like, and the reality is, people like say what they want to say about it. If we both had the same grades, we both had the same, every single thing the same. I'm black, you white. And we went for the same position. You're going to get that position. The only way that I can get that position is if I either literally knew the person who was hiring, or I was considerably better than you, going for the same position. So I mean, and you know what? I'm not necessarily even mad at white privilege. I just think that it's to suggest that it's not there is ludicrous, and to not use it for good is just, it's ignorant to not be like, because at the end of the day, you can't help that. And this is the other thing, someone's like, oh, there's nothing we can do right. White people, we can't do anything right. Like, no, you can actually. You can do a lot of things right. It's not your fault that you were born white. That's a privilege. Like, the fact that you were born white, you were born into the circumstance. You could have been born black, therefore you wouldn't be as privileged because you would get made fun of because you're black. You don't get made fun of for being white, therefore you're privileged. So first of all, get over that. Second of all, actually like use your influence, your privilege to either help people or to actually silence people who aren't being very helpful, who are being mean. So be the person in your group who actually is like, dude, that's not funny. Like, what if that was you that someone was just randomly talking about?
Yeah.
Literally, it's not funny. And I think in Canada, this is really controversial, but in Canada, in America, in Australia, like, there are a people group who were there before white people came to those countries, and the way that these people are treated, I get so upset at how those people are treated, and I don't care. But there's a lot of crime. But there's this. How do you think these people got to that stage? Just because they wanted to, like.
This is something, and so kind of talking about like the native Canadian population, and something else that I've really wanted to start looking into more is about their culture and their time before, white people got here,
right,
and all this. I want to look into this and the whole reconciliation thing and the residential schools that they went through.
Right.
It's something that I am very interested in, and like I told you, I'm just starting to get to a point in my life where I want to think more and learn more.
And the best thing that anybody can do, like, is just honestly is ask questions. And you know what? Don't be surprised. And don't be surprised if a black person that you ask a question to either doesn't give you the answer that you want, or is in some way hostile. Like, newsflash, some black people are going to be angry.
Sure.
And guess what? That's okay. Do you know why? Because every single day of their lives, they are literally marginalized, literally because of the color of their skin. So please stop getting annoyed and stop labeling like the angry black man or like, and especially like to these amazing black women out there. Oh, she's too much. She's too defensive, too this, but chill out. Okay? Because let me put you in their shoes for 5 seconds, and then you can get a glimpse of as to why certain people are going to be a certain way.
Like, are you kind of talking to maybe like something like overcompensation, like people like acting almost too confidently, and do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
How some black people maybe almost act too confident and too cocky or whatever, for lack of a better term, because they're made to feel this way that they're nothing sometimes.
Yes.
So on the outside,
for example,
they're portraying this.
I give you an example. People always, say one of the things they say like, oh, black people are arrogant. Okay. You went to someone's homeland where black people have always had a lot of pride, in their community, in their people, in their faith, in their music. Okay. And the thing that you did was then you took this proud people group and belittled them to slaves. So that the pride doesn't go away. We are innately proud. We are innately confident people because we're good. And it has been the sole goal of a lot of people in history to diminish that confidence.
Mm-hmm.
So when we have any opportunity to get our shine back, we want to take that shine. When we have any opportunity to how we celebrate might be different than how you celebrate, but that doesn't mean we are, oh my gosh, they're extra just because it's different than how you celebrate, bro. Just, do you know what I mean? Like, celebrate how you want to celebrate. But it's if I get an opportunity to if I've been in a dark room for all my life and then I get let out and I have an opportunity to shine and I'm talented, I'm gonna freaking shine, mate.
Yeah.
And I don't like to see people put down because that even annoys me. Even someone having a good time, they get put down.
Man, I just want to bring something up that I saw. It was probably about a year ago, maybe 2 years ago or something.
Mm-hmm.
But, on a personal side of this, with you being a good friend of mine
Right.
for quite a while. And I saw a video on Instagram or Facebook or whatever, and it was you with some of your friends just frickin' dancing in a studio, having an amazing time.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked at that and I was like, I don't think I've ever seen Ransford this happy before. Like, even hanging out with me, like I could just see something in you when you were dancing, like you were kind of just goofing off with your friends
Mm-hmm.
and having such a good time. And I was like, I never saw that in high school with you or in the couple times we hung out or whatever.
Right.
And to me, that does tie into exactly what you're saying, is celebrating who you are and what you're doing. And for some reason,
In a place where you're not going to get judged.
exactly.
Because when I grew up, I went to a private school, all white. Before that, I went to school, all white. So I knew and I know how to quote, I would say, act. So, I mean, but just imagine if I was dancing and doing all that sort of stuff at our all white school.
Yeah.
It's not even that people would like bully me, but everybody would be like, ew, that's weird.
Yeah.
And because of the number of people, it actually would be weird. Being the only person, who
Is expressing
themselves that way,
Yeah.
right? So that's not necessarily doesn't make you necessarily racist. That just means that, right? Okay, in this environment, like this is not a place where I would want to do that because it's not gonna be received well. And I mean, and I even today, like, if I'm in an environment where I'm like, okay, this isn't the environment for this. This isn't the place for this. I was having this discussion with my sister, and my sister was like, yeah, I don't care. Like if if I want, it doesn't matter where I am, blah blah blah. And I'm just like, you know what the thing is? It does sometimes. Time and place, or my coach always used to say, time and clock. Like, you know, there's things for this. There's different things with different times, you know.
Yeah.
So
Just to kind of further the conversation and almost play devil's advocate.
yeah,
Like I am going to plead a lot of ignorance on this, and I know that I've been part of a problem to do with racism before. Like I said, even in just this small scenario with jokes and such.
right.
And so I guess, again, I'll just bring up maybe a couple scenarios or something and let you talk on it because I know that being a black man, I know you've thought about this stuff an infinite more than I have.
Right.
Infinite amount of time more than I have. And so a couple situations where, you know, if I were to move, or say my family was brought up in an African country, predominantly black, do you have any feelings or thoughts on how I would feel or how I would be perceived over there in relation to racism? And then on the kind of flip side of that, thinking about, and I'm not sure how it happens with your family, a family that migrates to a white country looking, a white country in quotation, you know what I mean?
Right.
Looking to further, you know, to help their family to, you know, to gain prosperity and have a better life for their kids. And then those kids thinking, oh, I wish we were maybe still in a black country. Maybe this would be easier. Do you have any thoughts on those kind of situations? You know,
Yeah.
do you see where I'm kind of coming from on the flip side of things? And
I would say that if slavery hadn't happened,
yeah,
and then you know, you go to a country and you're the minority there, right? So at the end of the day, you know, everyone's gonna notice what's different.
yeah,
So if that's literally all it is, okay, do you know what? Timmy is different than everyone else in his class, and Timmy would feel some type of way about that. Even if no one was horrible, he would feel like a little bit left out because he's not the same.
gotcha. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that would be a white person's experience. So look, even if people are making fun of you, we're human. People are going to make fun of you because you're different. That is the harsh and annoying reality of humans.
Mm-hmm.
But when you go to a place and you are fearful because your people not that long ago were actual slaves to other human beings. Like literal, like animals were treated better than you. And also you're going into a place where in a lot of scenarios, you are literally looked on as below human. The experiences are completely different.
And I think a part of that is there's a lot of people who still feel that way in the world, and in America especially, or in Canada, I don't know. And these people have moved on to other parts of the world who still feel that way. And it's also just that I think maybe, sorry to cut you off, but it happened in America, in the most popular country in the world kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like if something happens in the United States, in the media there, like it's everywhere because America is the most popular country kind of thing.
Yeah,
or it seems like that. So it happened there, and I feel like those ideas have maybe spread around the world almost.
No. I think that's what a lot of people get this whole like, oh, you know, slavery wasn't here. And it actually almost gives them a license to be more racist, I think.
Yeah.
Because the reality is the worst racism I've faced has not been in the United States.
Yeah, and so I guess that's what I'm kind of asking or wondering. And I honestly, like I said, I'm completely ignorant. I don't know where slavery happened even in the past with black people. Maybe it was everywhere. I don't know. But so how come do you think it's so bad all around the world?
as far
or
as
in other
as far
places
as
other than the States.
as far as racism,
Yeah.
because it's the same people. Like, so it was the same English people that came to America. It's the same English people that came to Canada. It's the same
Right.
English
Yeah.
people that
Okay.
came
Yeah.
to Australia.
Obviously. Yeah.
So
Duh.
these are the same people with the same beliefs. They just went different places.
Yeah. Do you
Ish.
and I guess you can take this on a hopeful route or a more realistic route, but do you see a solution or an end to any of this in the next couple hundred years even? You know what I mean?
Honestly, and again, I've had lots of conversations about this. I honestly think it would have to be actual hundreds of years,
Yeah.
because it, for example, our great grandkids are not necessarily, maybe, but not necessarily going to be influenced by our grandparents. So if
Right.
let's say if you were white and your grandparent is just lived in the time where that's just what it was, like when I hear people all the time, yeah, my granddad's like quite racist. Just that's the time they lived in.
Yeah.
But they would class themselves as not racist, for example. So then they are now the grandparent to their grandchild, and they didn't spew those beliefs onto their kids, and now those parents didn't spew those beliefs onto their kids.
Yeah.
So, but I think in some families, it's actually even deeper than that. So literally, the people our age have their mindset that black people are subhuman. Okay,
100%.
So
There still is, for sure.
yeah. So literally, for it to, this age of exposure that we're in would have to just continue to expose.
Yeah.
Um,
You almost wish it was kind of like one of these survival of the fittest things where those kind of people would just die off.
right.
That's kind of what we're
Because,
hoping.
yeah, but because in all
But
honesty,
will they ever? If there's someone who's our age who still think that way, then they're
Right.
going to raise their kids to still think that way.
the thing is, the hope is that those people
Don't procreate.
no, those people will continue to be less and less vocal because
Yeah,
they would actually be scared.
Yeah.
So they wouldn't be, people say stuff like, oh, you can't even say this anymore. Like nowadays, you can't even say this. Yeah, you're right. You can't say this. You can't talk about,
Because it's wrong.
yeah, can't talk about mental health, about people's mental health. You can't make fun of people's body and weight and sex. You can't talk about stuff like that because it's wrong to talk about it in a negative way. So therefore, if they want to continue to be employed, if they want to continue to be liked, relevant, then they will have to at least bury their opinions, for example.
Yeah.
But I've got a lot of people who are like, it will never ever change ever. But I'm more hopeful than that. I just think that it will take time.
Yeah.
And because the thing is, it's kind of sad sometimes, when you hear someone's real story, and then literally all someone has to do is grab the remote and just turn it to another channel and be like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care if this person was killed because he was black, because it's on TV to me. It's not real. Turn the channel off. Oh, blah blah blah, black person. Done. I'm going to my next comment, and I keep the same mindset. If things like that continue to happen, then that's like it's very how can you change that? But I mean, you got to have hope and just continue to have conversations. Let people, because again, I reckon a lot of people are just ignorant to it. So maybe they've just heard their parents say horrible things, and I know people who have actually stood up to their parents and grandparents have been like, do you know what? That's disgusting. Like, you can't say that. And then maybe their parents give them a hard time about it or whatever, and that's fine. Or maybe they start dating someone from a different race, or maybe they start, hanging out with people from different races, and guess what? They didn't get robbed by them, and guess what? They didn't, nothing happened that was bad. Like, and for some people, it's just actually being exposed to different people.
And like I said, I am one of these ignorant people. I was raised in a very small town. And I was raised with good beliefs in a Christian home. And I'm, but it is just one of those things. I think that a lot of people are ignorant, and I think ignorant always gets a really bad connotation. Like saying someone's ignorant is super rude. It's not always the case. It just means they don't know something, right? Yeah. They don't know any different. And it takes relationships and experiences to change that ignorance into gaining more knowledge and learning about these kind of things. And and that's why I wanted to have these conversations with you, especially because I haven't even heard half this stuff ever in my life, even from you. And I mean, we're pretty good friends. Like I said, we've had some deep conversations. I wouldn't think anything this in depth. That's why I love doing this show. Right. And and that's why I hope, like you said, just keep having these conversations. Hopefully it reaches more and more people. And
the thing is, people, it is worth having these conversations. People are like, oh, what's the point about, a lot of black people that, I speak to, but what's the point of just having conversations? And a lot of people get angry because it's like, oh, now white people want to learn after they've been racist to me for this many years. Now they want to get, or why should I, and I'm like, do you know what? You can have that attitude and then they can continue to be ignorant or whatever. Or if someone wants to get better at something, and that thing is actually can help your people group, or humanity. You can just be like, nah, I'm not gonna tell them, blah blah blah. Okay, then the mindset is gonna be the same. Or you can just be like, all right, it is hard. It's hard for both sides. It's hard for me to have to explain pain, and it's also hard for someone to actually feel shame.
Yeah.
And be like, oh, actually, I feel a bit crappy because I've once said that, or I've once thought that, or I've once seen 4 black people and thought something bad's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Just tough.
Let me bring one more scenario to you, and maybe I shouldn't be so lighthearted about this, but another scenario where I love you as a brother, and I do not want this racism to exist in the world. I can say that,
right,
without a doubt, obviously.
Right.
I think most people would say that. But so I saw a couple black guys at my gym working out together or whatever, and I do almost in my head go out of my way to be extra nice to them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I make sure I make eye contact and smile, just give a little nod and then carry on.
Right.
Like, is this helpful in any way, or is it just almost patronizing, or you know what I mean?
Yeah. No. It's the thing is, this is what I was explaining to someone the other day, that doesn't make you a bad person. That's
do I think I'm in a place to make them feel better because I'm white and I'm smiling at them because they're black?
But no,
even though if they were white, I would still smile at them if they looked at me.
But the thing is,
this is where it gets really,
I mean, at the end of the day, if you walk past someone and you smile at them, only you know why you did that.
Yeah.
So if it's genuinely because they were just humans and you smiled at them, cool.
Yeah.
It's either one or the other with me, and for me, it's just like every single person acknowledges me, and I mean, with either way. So overly nice, or like they're scared.
Yeah.
And I just want people who don't care.
Yeah.
You don't know me. Just go about your business. Imagine if you just... Do you think those black guys are going to think you're rude if you don't talk to them? No. Maybe they feel more like humans because they're not being acknowledged all the time.
Yeah, I got you. And I know. And I just want you to know, in my head, it's like, well, I know there's just so much negativity towards black people. I'm
going to give them some positivity. Yeah, that's not bad.
I don't know, man. But that was just kind of a more lighthearted situation, I guess.
Yeah.
But I love you, man.
I love you too. And the thing is, do do you have to? Well, I think you should love every single person, but you don't know every single person.
No.
So, you know,
But I do go out of my way to smile at everyone I can look at and
yeah,
make eye contact with.
you're a ray of sunshine.
Thanks, man. and exactly. It's like, at least we're having this conversation. That's, I think, like you said, the main thing.
Right.
And I said I wasn't going to keep you up past midnight, but here we are.
Is it midnight?
I think
Oh,
so.
wow.
Right?
This has been a pretty long podcast.
We did pretty good. Yeah. It was great.
Couple-
I'm glad this worked out so well. And like completely random.
Well, it's going to sound like we didn't rehearse it for sure.
Faux show. But that's what I mean. That's what I think
Yeah.
people really dig about this one. So if you want to check out more of Mauvey's stuff
Mm-hmm.
at Love Mauvey, right?
Yeah, that's Love Mauvey on everything.
Love Mauvey on Instagram and Facebook and all that.
Yeah.
To me, you're still Ransford,
Yeah.
and I love you.
Love you too, mate.
Let's just hug it out.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go to bed. My wife's probably wondering where the hell I am.
Yeah.
But yeah, I gotta set this couch up for you too. We'll get that going.
Good night, guys.
Good night.
We call it the AC show. Yeah, we really call it the AC show. Really call it the AC show. I gotta pee. It's the AC show. It's the AC show with AC, your host. Check it out.